Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another live this morning. I'm sitting in my rocking chair. Hope you're having a great start to your day as you get your notices and as we go live here. Hope all is well. And Mike, how are you? Jen, good morning. Kevin. What a faithful group we have. Rosalinda and Nativity, good morning. Brahim from Portland, Oregon, good morning. Nick from our staff and Moncton, New Brunswick. Barbara, Kansas. Jeanette from our staff. Mary, good morning. Len and Judy, Edmonton, Alberta. Frida, good morning. Good to have you guys on. Jeanette and Mara. And let me just see here. Nia, how are you? Micheline, Grace, good morning. Dubraka. And Georgie, Halifax. Beautiful day in Halifax. Yeah, Donna. Deb from Detroit, Michigan. Etta. Nice to have you on. Jeanette, good morning. Yolande, bonjour. And Fran from Orangeville, good morning. Serpa, Dowling, good morning. Evelyn, nice to have you. Miss Danny, how are you? Oh, you got your coffee. Well, let me show you this. Rita, Maria, Wendy, good morning. Jean from Tirana. Chantal from Ottawa, our dear friend Dr. McEwen, West Tennessee, Maro, how are you? Jordan, good morning. From Oklahoma, Nellie, Catherine, Zien, we appreciate. Wanda from Virginia. Catherine, Newfoundland. Well, good morning, everyone. Nancy. Okay, guys, we got to get going here. Chris from Alberta and Jerry, good morning. We appreciate you guys and Mary. Okay, now, see that cup? You're seeing the writing upside down or backwards. This is our good for you. Well, it's good for you, but it's called Good for Me coffee. Good for Me coffee. Coming to a theater near you. The real vitamin C. Man, we have hooked up with the best coffee in the world. And just about ready to be launched, okay? And Tony Jr. actually gave me a cup. Good for Me coffee on there. Okay. Now, guess what it is today? It's Vitamin D Day. Never heard of it. Vitamin D Day today. November 2nd is Vitamin D Day. They gave it a day. I don't know who did it, but I'm glad they did. It's not like every day isn't Vitamin D Day, but it's a special day. And we're going to continue on in our little discussion yesterday about Alzheimer's. 1 in 8 after the age of 65, the number 3 killer in North America, and the number 1 killer in the United Kingdom. Unbelievable. How could that take over heart disease or cancer? But it's number 3 in that hit parade of what we're going to die from in that list. I can tell you something, folks, in the 1970s, the 1980s, the 1990s, whatever, it wasn't anywhere near the top 100 on the hit parade. But today it's number 3 in North America. And we're talking today and yesterday about preventing Alzheimer's. But, let me go back to vitamin D because we spent a fair amount of time on it yesterday. But because it is Vitamin D Day, I want to read you a new study that has come out on vitamin D. And here's the study from the journal Cell. Vitamin D, profound. If you have low levels of vitamin D, here's what this study is saying. Profound and rapid decline in cognitive function. Low levels of vitamin D, profound and rapid decline in cognitive function. Folks, you need vitamin D for your brain to operate properly. Isn't that something? I guess the brain has solar panels too. Your brain cells need vitamin D to operate. Unreal. Imagine a vitamin that is so essential. And of course, there's a war going on in vitamin D. On vitamin D, there's a war. I always tell people that. When you see negative things about vitamin D, understand behind the scenes there's a war going on. It's too simple for people. A vitamin can help you in that way? Yep, it can. The immune system, the brain. Now, this study went on to say, here's what happens when you have low levels of vitamin D. Your endothelial layers of your blood vessels, think of Teflon, slippery. Remember when they invented Teflon pans? You remember that? Okay, and it's slippery and nothing sticks to the Teflon, right? And that's what your blood vessels are supposed to be like. Nothing sticks. You want blood to flow without any kind of hindrance. And this is why triglycerides are so dangerous left in the bloodstream. And triglycerides are, you need some triglyceride, but listen, what we talked about yesterday is sugar rapidly, quickly starts to destroy that layer. The endothelial layer, okay? Understand that. That's the slippery Teflon. And what they're showing with vitamin D, okay, what they're showing, I went out just for a second on my end. Are you guys all right? Somebody give me a flag up, because I went blank here, okay? Just for a second. I don't know why, but okay, I got a thumbs up. Thank you very much, okay? So is your sound good and you can see me? That's the key. Now, getting back to that layer, a couple of things that you should know about what vitamin D does, okay? Vitamin D is anti-inflammatory. It really is. When you look at vitamin D in terms of a marker, and this is what frustrates me big time, is that, you know, most people don't even know what their vitamin D levels are. You know, it's so hard to convince physicians to test it. Okay, to test vitamin D. But they don't test it. It should be routine. Twice a year. If doctors understood the importance of vitamin D, they would test it, say, hey, I haven't seen your vitamin D levels for 6 months, let's look at them again. But when they don't understand the significance of it, if they're not reading, if they're not studying these journals, and vitamin D is only for bones, you miss out, my friend, you miss out. Vitamin D testing is essential because when your vitamin D levels are at a certain level, Number one, your inflammation markers go down. When your vitamin D levels are optimized, it protects your blood vessels. How does it do it? It elevates nitric oxide. Now remember, okay? Remember what nitric oxide is. It's not hard to remember if you think of nitroglycerin. Nitroglycerin? Well, that's an that's dynamite, man. That makes things explode. Yep. Well, you have little molecules within your blood vessels called nitric oxide. Those little molecules, whoop, they explode, not to damage, but open your blood vessels. When I was in school in the 70s, we didn't even know nitric oxide existed. We didn't. It wasn't until the 1980s where they discovered nitric oxide, and actually the people that did it, they won Nobel Prize in medicine for the discovery of nitric oxide. And then, guess what? They put it to bed, and they don't even talk about it. But nitric oxide, my friend, is worth talking about, because nitric oxide opens up your blood vessels. It really decreases your blood pressure if you have good levels of nitric oxide. Now bring it back even another step. What makes more nitric oxide? The sun! The sun! Vitamin D, Viderma, on your skin. Your body's nitric oxide levels go up. And that helps your blood vessels. That helps circulation. And it's the reason when you read in the journal Cell about vitamin D, when vitamin D levels are not optimized, here's what they say: a profound and rapid decline in cognitive function. Well, what makes vitamin D help the brain? It elevates nitric oxide. You know, when they talk about dementia, okay, remember Alzheimer's is in the category of dementia. Dementia is the overarching disease, dementia. The hippocampus, it shrinks. Brain shrinks. Dementia. Alzheimer's is a form of that. The more serious form of dementia. Okay? Now, Alzheimer's, we talked about it yesterday, type 3 diabetes. You got to follow with me here. What happens in diabetes? Sugar left in the bloodstream damages blood vessels. It starts with capillaries. What are capillaries? The attachment between your arteries and your veins. They're micro, they're small. But it starts right away. If sugar's not controlled, you damage blood vessels. And you know what one of the things in dementia that they mention? Small vessel disease. Small vessel. You got little small blood vessels in the brain. I know you got big ones here, carotid, right? Your carotid artery. So those are big comparatively. But in the brain, you got small little, but there's a lot of circulation in the brain, but small blood vessels. They get damaged with low levels of vitamin D. Low levels of vitamin D. They get damaged when sugar stays in the bloodstream for too long. Friend, it's vitamin D day. Let's celebrate, okay? And I mean this. Let's celebrate vitamin D day because you know, my audience knows the significance of vitamin D. You know it. And you probably get tired of me talking about it, but that's all right. I'm sorry. I'm a one-track mind. Guys, I am into prevention. We're talking about preventing Alzheimer's. And so I just had to go back to vitamin D and this new study that came out right in time for vitamin D day. Rapid, okay, let me just say what they said. Profound and rapid decline when you do not have good levels of vitamin D. Cognitive decline. And I'm trying to show you how that happens, why it happens. Okay, so that's vitamin D. Okay, now let's get to a few other things. What do you and I do to prevent Alzheimer's? Okay, what do you and I do? We talked about vitamin D. We talked yesterday about B12. It's unbelievable the amount of people that are low in B12. And the main reason is because they bought the lie. They bought the lie that red meat is no good for you. Don't buy the lie, my friend. It's an absolute lie. There's nothing true about the story about red meat. It is craziness on steroids. But again, what does the world out there do? They lie and people die. You've got major industries. You know, big pharma, big food, and big media. Media runs on advertising, my friend. 80% of their advertising dollar comes in from big pharma. 80%. You think that doesn't influence the news? Sure it does. It doesn't mean there's nothing good in the pharmaceutical companies. I'm not saying that. But boy, they sure influence. They've influenced medicine big time. And doctors, you know my little expression? Doctors today have become firefighters. They only react when you have a fire going on within the body. You have an emergency. And that's all right. Doctors are good at that. I got no problem with that. As a matter of fact, that's what they're really good at. You got a fire going on within your body, you need a doctor. Okay? The problem is, they're not into prevention. They might be into detection, but not prevention. So when it comes to preventing Alzheimer's, they're looking for drugs, and they have been for the last 20, 30 years, to treat Alzheimer's. They want to treat it. You've been diagnosed with some form of dementia, they want to put you on medications. My friend, so far, that has been a colossal failure. A colossal failure. They got FDA drugs, FDA approval on some of their drugs that do nothing. It's a tragedy. And if they would look at the studies on vitamin D, just vitamin D, and the brain. But that's not the narrative. And so, look, you see my face? I'm an optimistic guy. I'm very positive. You know why? Because I have a good outlook on life, but I also have a realistic outlook. And I realize you guys and me, we're in the minority, guys. But that's all right. As long as we have the truth will set us free. Okay? And so, look, again, I don't dismiss medications. You got a fire going on? Go see a firefighter. Call in the firefighters. But before that happens, let's try and prevent. Okay? So vitamin D, B12, eliminate, okay? We talked about this. Eliminate sugar. Eliminate crappy carbs that become sugar in nanoseconds. The liver and the brain are big time connected. The Costco parking lot and your brain are big time connected. So you got to empty out your liver. And the worst thing for your liver is high fructose corn syrup, which is the sugar of choice in everything in the middle aisles of the grocery store. Go through from cookies to soup to crackers to whatever's in the middle aisles of the grocery store. Go in there and look, take out a label, read it, and then look at added sugars. When they're added, it's high fructose corn syrup. They don't have to tell you that, but that is what they use. Why? It's cheap. It's addictive. It's very sweet. And so, but it's the Frankenstein of sugars because it clogs up your liver in rapid time. Very quickly, it clogs up the liver with fat because fructose goes to the liver fast. Faster than glucose. Fructose goes to the liver, just like alcohol. It goes to the liver rapidly. And what happens in the liver doesn't stay in the liver. Your liver is not Las Vegas. Okay? There's metabolic syndrome. It will increase your triglycerides. It will decrease your HDL. It will create elevated blood sugars. It will create insulin resistance. At the end of the day, that's what the liver does. That's what happens at the liver level. So prevention is the key, my friend. Prevention is the key. What you eat in the kitchen is going to have a profound effect on future problemos like Alzheimer's. It's important to start today. If you haven't started, if you haven't got the memo on cutting back on those crappy carbs and the sugars, to learn how to read labels. Okay? Now, let me bring to you my continuing education on Alzheimer's. What else do you need to do? Fathead. Hey, you, fathead. Don't take that as an insult. It's a compliment. Hey, you fathead. What? Yeah, I want you to have a fat head. The fatter your head, your brain, the better it works. Who knew? Anybody ever told you that before? Your brain is made up of fat. And specifically, DHA. Your brain is made up of a long chain fatty acid, omega-3. Now, you can get omega-3 in plants, but the best, omega-3, the long chain fatty acid, the longest in the chains, molecularly, okay, biochemistry-wise, is called DHA. Isn't that interesting? That your brain is made up of that fat. And guess what happens when you get Alzheimer's? Your brain shrinks. It shrinks. The craziest thing in nutrition, one of them, the craziest thing in nutrition is the day we decided to go fat-free. Oh, Doc, fat makes me fat. Fat gives me cholesterol. Fat's not good for you. Yes, it is. Fat. Saturated fat. Yes, it's good for you. You need fat. Pretend you're an Inuit eating fat and blubber because it's good for you. I'm so big on prevention. If you think of your brain as if you say to yourself, hello, in the morning when you get up and look at yourself in the mirror and go, hello, fathead. Don't do that to other people, okay? They're going to get insulted because they don't understand, but you can do it to yourself. Hello, fathead. Guys, I've been talking about fat for as long as I've been around. Fat. And the best fat. What is the best fat? Well, it's that DHA fat. It's the DHA. Your brain's made up of it. So what do? Well, I take DHA every day. I eat fish every day in a capsule. And by the way, the best DHA isn't even in fish. It's in steak. Yep, it's in steak. And when you go to the grocery store, let me give you a little tip. And think of this as taking a vitamin. When you think of this as taking a vitamin S, and think of your brain. And look for the fattiest cut. They're usually the cheapest, by the way. Because people, I'm looking for lean, Doc. You got any lean meat? You know what? The Inuit, okay? They used to feed the lean meat to their dogs. They wanted the fat meat. They wanted fat. They searched for fat. Well, they were smarter than the average bear, my friend. Okay? And that's what DHA does. It regenerates the brain. You got a lot of little, you got an electrical grid in the brain. And your myelin sheets on those neurotransmitters, they need fat. They need B12 too. And they need vitamin D too. And remember this about vitamin D. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. If you insist on eating fat-free, you're not going to get enough vitamin D. Even from the sun, you'll have trouble. You need fat. You need to be eating it. You need to be eating fat. That's why dairy is good for you. Don't ditch dairy. Switch dairy. When they made milk fat-free, how stupid was that? That's denaturing milk. Why would you do that? That's why Dr. Martin loves cream. Full fat milk. That's what's good for you. That's why I love cheese. Full fat cheese. You get your DHA levels up. Preventing Alzheimer's. Preventing Alzheimer's. Should we do a couple of more? Sleep. Sleep. Guys, you got to do everything you can to sleep properly. You have to do everything you can to sleep properly. Why? Because when you're sleeping, your lymphatics, your brain's drainage system, the lymphatics, the brain has its own self-cleaning oven, but it only works when you sleep. It only works when you sleep. And if you're sedating yourself to go to sleep, okay, that's not sleep, that's sedation. There's a big difference. I talk to you about that all the time. Don't force yourself. This is one of the reasons I'm not huge on melatonin as a supplement. Okay? Rarely does it work after a while. And to some extent, if you don't do it naturally, melatonin can sedate you in a supplement, never naturally, because your body already makes melatonin. Do you know that when you eat eggs, meat, and cheese, your body actually makes melatonin from that? When you go out in the sun, even if it's 40 below, your body makes melatonin through your third eye, your pineal gland. Just by seeing the sun. Just by looking at, not looking directly in the sun, but that bright sunshine, especially in the morning. So you prepare for sleep in the morning. What? Yeah, get ready for sleep in the morning. How do you do that, Doc? Well, when it's sunny, you get outside. Why? Or even if you've got a sunroom, you're not going to get vitamin D, but you're going to get the sun rays, which is going to increase your melatonin. You prepare for sleep in the morning. Geez, that sounds like a book. I talked about that in my new book. Okay. You prepare for sleep. People that work indoors all the time and they don't see the sun and whatever, they don't sleep well. You need melatonin. Let your body produce it. Vitamin D produces melatonin too. A good diet of eggs, meat, and cheese produces melatonin. Supplement-wise, I've never been big on melatonin. Okay, I haven't. I'm always telling people be careful with melatonin as a supplement. Take it naturally. Okay, and I didn't even talk about vitamin E. We'll get to that, I guess. Okay, guys. You know what Friday is? It's question and answer Friday. Okay? It's question and answer Friday. So get your questions in. We love that. Okay? Hey, guys. You guys are smart. You know that, eh? We appreciate it so much. Okay, guys. We love you dearly. Talk to you soon.